Like so many Aussie bolos, this inner west institution was once a threatened species.
1920, 2020, 100 years.
I love the fashion.
Oh, I've got to say,
People
we're much better dressed than
They're much better dressed than here.
George was among a group of Petersham locals who took control of the cash-strapped bolo at a time when developers were circling.
When we took over the club, none of us were bowlers, none of us had board experience, none of us had been with clubs. So we came in with fresh eyes, which I think was very helpful.
So what's changed? Has the bowling club changed or the suburb changed?
Both. I think the bowling club wasn't changing to take into account the changing demographics of the suburb. About 50% of the money into the club in those years prior was coming from poker machine money. But you could see it diminishing as even less people were coming, so the pokies weren't even saving it.
To make matters worse, the bowling greens were going downhill and competitive bowlers were deserting the club.
And you've got this death spiral happening.
Sydney's lost half of its bowling clubs in the past 40 years. George and his neighbours didn't want their local to become one of them.
We went to Clubs New South Wales because we thought, hey, they're the peak body. And their advice was, your poker machines are out of date. No one wants to play. Renew them, put some fresh ones in. It's cost you about $20,000. And then they said you get people through there to subsidise food and drink. And after that advice, I just went, they're actually exploitative. So we literally turned them off at the wall one day. I remember, I think it was April 2007. We walked in there, we just went, you know what, we really want nothing to do with these. We walked to the wall and physically turned them off at the wall and never turned them on again.
Lights went out.
Bing, I remember that moment when they went off.
That was a joyous moment.
It was a joyous moment. It was a good decision.
It's a decision that's paid more dividends than the slot machines ever did, with turnover increasing by roughly 800%.
We said we're pokey free, and people started to travel to us from out of area. And we started to get this support.
We've been coming here to Petersham for about 10 years now.
It has everything that a club should have. No pokies for a start.
I hate pokies and pubs, so...
I wouldn't come here if there were pokies. It just wouldn't have the same beautiful, friendly community vibe that it has got.
Hey!
You just won.
I didn't mean to.
The Bolo has become a community hub, hosting everything from trivia and music gigs to life drawing classes.
I mean, for God's sake, you've got nude drawing. I mean, what's that about?
It's called life drawing. And we have people come up from the Shire up here to go to that class.
Really?
Really, yeah.
Bit desperate.
Bit desperate. Diversification is the answer. So you can't just rely on one customer base.
Yep.
You know, you actually have to diversify. And you've got to use the club across different times of the day for different people.
Why then aren't other clubs doing exactly the same thing? Is this not a model for them?
Because it's not necessarily that easy, I think.
It's actually hard.
It's actually hard. You need to get some more creative entrepreneurial thinkers on the board and then have conversations with the community and invite other people in.
I'm drinking an Albo. Has he ever been in here?
He has been in here. He has. At the 10th anniversary, he was here. We had a big celebration. So we've survived for 10 years.
Now, Albo, you've been here before, mate. Just because you're the Prime Minister now, don't forget our mates at the Petersham Bolo, OK, because we'll be on to you. It is, we will be too. Now, those
How did you turn a heartwarming story into a threat to the Prime Minister?
I don't know, actually. Petersham's an inner western suburb of Sydney, and the great thing about that is when you're in that club, you feel like you're in a small country town.
Yeah.
And so the local community just gets around it because everybody, all ages, get in there and just have a lovely time.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who wants blinking poker machines in the background?
I cannot stand
Shocking things.
pokies.
And how good was my bowling?
Oh, very.
No editing there?
No.
No?
No.
No?
Honest, no.
I felt like I normally hated the greens, Pricey.
I'm happy with those greens.
Greens, you like.
They didn't go with you on that pun either, did they?
Very good.
Storm tonight.